we introduced Azure Azure Disk Loss Experiment, which is a new addition in a non-Kubernetes experiment suite, where it targets the Azure Disk Service, and which it attach and attach it reback. So this is something which we have already for AWS and GCP, and we sort of added it for Azure platform as well. From the Kubernetes generic site suites, we have a pod network partition experiment that we have added in this release, which blocks the ingress and egress traffic. We can provide different options to do this. You can select a port or pod selector or namespace selector for the for injecting the chaos. We also have provided our ability to make default checks as tunables. So as you must be aware, with the default checks we have in pod and node level experiments, in pod level experiments, we have some default checks like application status checks, which were compulsory till now. Your application should be running before and after chaos, but we sort of made it optional. You can tune it through an env. You can make it if you don't want to check these two envs as a criteria, these two checks as a criteria for your experiment success, you can keep it false. Then we have a new GCP. Then we have a new enhancement in GCP VM instance stop experiment. This experiment was actually targeting VM instances. Now it also supports for targeting the VM instances who supports the autoscale, which are part of our autoscaling groups. So this is a new enhancement in that. And we also have enhanced some CMD probes, which also allows you to use host network. You can enable the host network for CMD probe pod. We also have a populated service accounts from experiments to the probe pods. This will be useful in case where the probe pod needs the RBAC permissions to execute some of the operations which you have provided in your hypothesis. So yeah, so this service accounts will experiment service account will help in that. We have made some enhancement in chaos exporter side. We have added a litmus chaos awaited metrics. We have that contains an injection time label. We have added an env tunable env injection time filter, which you can use for your interleaving graph, which will show a red area or an interleaving area, which you must have seen in some of our demos. This will help you to achieve that. Then we have some enhancement made in chaos scheduler, which you can now specify the minutes and hours separately to schedule your experiments. So this will help you to this will be helpful for the staggered schedules. You can avoid the collisions. You can schedule at a different minutes, and we have the ability now to use we have also added a keywords in Chaos Hub. Now you can search your target experiments based on the keywords. Like for example, if you search for a disk, it will show all the experiments which are related to disk, like that. So this is something which we added in the Chaos Hub. We also have some error logs improvements, error handling in different in experiments in Chaos Exporter. Where chaos exporter, chaos operator, sorry, for chaos engine status checks. We also have remove init containers. If you are aware with some of the experiments, we're doing multiple libs like Pumbaa and Litmus lib. So the Pumbaa libs, we actually used init container to give Docker socket path some permissions to run. We give the permissions for the Docker socket path to run the non-root experiment. So that is now you can provide it in a different envs, Docker host env itself. You don't need that init container right now. So this is what we was enhanced in the Pumbaa lib. Now we have again an enhancement in metrics. You can now export those metrics will be only exported for the chaos engines which are active in inactive state. It will stop overriding the value which are existing in the metrics. So this is for the chaos scheduler. Now we have enhancements in E2Es as well. We have added a well-defined debug steps. So in the pipeline, if you get a failure, you will get to know at which point it is getting failed, what is the reason. Without going deeper into it, you will have all this visible on the pipeline itself. We have also added some shared runners that will help you to run the multiple tests in parallel. and also some service account validation things. So you can provide your custom service account to validate the minimum permission for an experiment, whether it's a new experiment or an existing one you want to check out. You can just provide your own service account in the workflow itself. We have a bug fix in this release, which actually the experiment pod was not able to populate the instance ID in the helper pods, which was actually fixed in this release, and its results invalid chaos result name. So this is description of what we did in 2.1. Members, community members who actually contributed in terms of views for these things, and in any other method. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, I think that's all. Any questions if you have?
Thanks, Udit. If you have any questions for Udit or anyone regarding the latest updates for 2.1, feel free to ask them now, or you can ask them on chat as well. Thanks, Udit. Once again, moving on. Next up, we have Shubham. Since the past few months, we have been working with the Iterate community to work on an integration, and then it was presented in the Iterate community call as well, talking about the synergies between the two projects. So Shubham, he'll be talking about the integration between Litmus Chaos and Iterate.
Okay. Hi everyone, I am Shubham Chaudhary, software engineer at Chaos Native and contributor to Litmus Chaos. So I'm sharing my screen. Yeah, so this is about the Litmus and Iterate integration. So Litmus you are already aware about. So Iterate provide a way to define your SLOs. So we can define our SLOs and we can validate them. So in Iterate we have a different like metrics. There are some inbuilt metrics which we can use to define them. So I will go through like how we will define those metrics and how we'll use it. So as part of this demo, I will use a hello service, so which is running in a two different versions. So if you see, this is the normal hello service, which is just printing the hello world and the name of the host and version. So you can see this is the version of the services 2.0.0, and the another service is also running which contain the version at 1.0.0. So we can see in our cluster as well. So you can see. So this is the hello service, which is 1.0.0, and this is the another service, which is a candidate service. So which is the like one version, which is the latest version of the service. So we will see, we will perform some SOA validation on the service, and we will see if it is working fine or it is meet our criteria. Then we will upgrade the its version of it. Then so if I will go through its documentation, so you can see we need to first for the iterate part we need to install the iteration. So you can see in the iterate documentation. So we can share the link after this. So here you need to install the iterate. So you can use the Helm or to install the iterate. They have iterate CTL, the CLI command, which you can use to describe their output and other things. So I will just go through the demo part and I will just explain it. So Litmus is already installed in the Litmus namespace, and I also created the hello application in the Litmus namespace only. I have installed the iterate. So in the iterate namespace, we can verify it. So we can see the iterate control manager and analytics both are running. So, and in iterate, I already mentioned that we are exporting some inbuilt metrics. So we have some, we have two CRs in iterate. So this is the experiment. So iterate is also perform the experiments to validate the SLOs. So I will open it the CR status, and this is the metric. So we have some inbuilt metrics. So they have some custom resource for those metrics. So whenever we install the iterate, so we will see all the CRs is installed by default. So we can describe, we can get the PRDs. So these are the inbuilt metrics which is provided by the iterate. So first one is the error count. So it is the number of errors which is like when we are validating the, we can define the duration there. So in that duration, what are the maximum number of errors which we can perform? So it contains the limit of the errors. Next one is the error rate. So it is the same thing. It is the, or here error means the, we are sending some GET request and we are checking if those error are like 400 family or 500 family, then we are considering them an error. So this is the rate is also the same thing. It is about the fraction of the responses which we are getting for that particular duration. The next one is the latency. So we are checking the latency for different percentile. So it is the 50 percentile, then 70, 75, then 90, 95, and 99 percentile. So we can check for all the different percentile if for those percentile if the value is matching or not. So we can define the values. The next one is the mean latency. So it is for the entire duration of the like till now from 0 to for example we are at X duration. So from 0 to X duration, what is the mean latency? So it will validate that. The next one is the request count. So we are sending some requests and we are checking whether the we are verifying if the request is more than that or less than that. So we are just providing some criteria. So I'm just opening the iterate experiment. So this is the iterate experiment where we can define our value. So first one we can see, yeah. So here we have some readiness criteria. So it is using for the start handler. So it will, for example, in my case, I am looking for the service, the hello candidate service, which is present inside the Litmus namespace, and the another one is deployment, hello candidate deployment, which is inside the Litmus namespace. So I'm waiting for them to be available. So it will wait until those this service and deployment is available. So whenever it available, then it starts its execution. So next part is the metrics collection. So it will collect the metrics for the this particular URL which belongs to our hello candidate, which is the 2.0.0 version of the hello deployment, and we are sending 8 QPS per second. So we are sending queries for the hello service, and based on that we are deriving all those metrics there. And we can set our criterias here. So we can define our, like, based on the experiment or based on our, like, we can define our hypothesis, and based on that we can set these criteria. So as part of this experiment, I'm using 3 metrics. So first metrics is the mean metric. So I want the value of the mean metric should be less than equal to 500. The next one is the error rate. So I want the error rate should be less than equal to 0.01. And the next one is the 95 percentile of the latency. So it should be less than equal to 1000 for my case. So if any of the value is not following these criteria, then the iterate will find it out. Then we will see if we want to upgrade its version or not. It is more of a, like, because we have a 2 version, so it is a conformance test as well. And I will just open our chaos engine also. So what I'm doing is, as part of this experiment, I'm running the chaos experiment along with the SLO validation. So at the time when we are injecting the chaos, so for this experiment, I'm injecting the pod delete experiment for the hello candidate application. So I'm deleting the experiment. At the same time, I'm validating the SLOs. So if it is not met, then it will fail. So we will see while running the experiment. So I will just open our engine. So we can see inside the app info, we have provided the namespace as Litmus, and the application label. This belongs to the candidate deployment, and the kind is deployment only. And I have provided the corresponding service account, and the experiment is pod delete. And I'm running the chaos for the 60 second. And in each 8 second, I'm deleting the pod. So I'm just starting my experiment. So I can create the iterate experiment and Litmus at same time, so that they will start at same time. So we can also, like, if we want, we are creating a different time also. So inside the readiness of the iterate experiment, we can tune it so that it will wait until the given pod is not ready. So we can also tune this way if we are running at different time. So we can also, I can also describe iterate here. So we will see when the SLO is ready. So you can see here. So we see the iterate experiments also started. We can see the detail here. So iterate experiment is a hello experiment, and it is running in Litmus namespace, and the name of the application is hello, and it is this is the testing pattern they are using. And then here in the experiment we are using one iteration of the iterations. So because we set a very small duration, so it is already completed. And here we set the 60 seconds, so it will it will also complete it after some time, when the 60 second is over. So right now in this case we see all the values which we provided is all the match. We can also verify the values from here. Okay. Yeah, so for this time, because we are validating these metrics, so we see we have provided these three criterias. So we see all the values are the corresponding get matched. For example, the mean latency is 35, which is less than 500, so it meet our criteria. So if we want to fail this, or if we want a tight check, then we can provide the more values. So in our case, because it is a less value, so the experiment is passed. And also we can see our we can also describe the litmus result as well. Yeah, so we can also see in the litmus experiment also. Okay, I think I already have a different engine as well. Yeah, so this is I think I have already some older engine as well. So I think it should be a hello. Yeah, this is our hello service pod delete. This is the result. So we can see I think experiment is not completed that time. We can see again. Yeah, I think experiment is completed now. So we can see the experiment is passed, because as part of experiment we are deleting the hello candidate pod, and we are able to successfully delete. We can see the experiment is already passed. And also inside the and here also we can see in the end of the experiment all the metrics is passed. We are check all that are we are all checking for, so it is already passed. So I think this is all about demo. Do we have any questions?
Thanks, Shubham. Perhaps if anyone has any questions for Shubham, they can.
Yeah, okay. I will share the link on the chat of the iterate docs.
Sure. Thanks, Shubham. Perhaps we also have a blog coming up with iterate hopefully soon. So next community call, if we have something more on the iterate integration, then we'll be glad to present the same. So next up, I think we have got Vedant. Vedant will be sharing the recent UX changes and the upcoming changes that are coming up. So Vedant, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, Vedant.
Okay, thanks, Ritvi. Hey everyone, this is Vedant Shotria, and I'm also a contributor at Litmus Chaos. So today I will be taking you through the changes that we have done in Chaos Center for this release. So I hope my screen is visible to you all.
Yes.
So yeah. So basically for this release, I would say there are not much of new features, but on the opposite side, we have tried to, accommodate your feedbacks, like from the community members that you gave, in terms of maybe be it in terms of issues or queries that you raise on channels. So we have tried to accommodate those issues and like try to, fix your queries in terms of a better, user experience. So basically, just starting before with UI, I'm going to like go for first the installation part. In case like if you have already tried to install Portal like before 2.1 that is going to release today, so in case you have tried installing Portal before this, you must have noticed that when you install Portal, there are cases when the server port actually keeps crashing for the installation time, maybe be it in 1 or 2 times, but it restarts for 1 or 2 times. That was like, this was one feedback I would say that we got from our community members, because this is simple, because actually the server depends on MongoDB to start working, right? Because if MongoDB is not yet ready, then like making queries to server won't work, right? So the server is actually dependent on MongoDB. So to resolve this issue, like to make the server not actually keep crashing when MongoDB is not ready, we have added this time init containers in the same deployment as GraphQL server. So what it will do is it will wait for the MongoDB stateful set container to be ready to take queries from GraphQL server. So once the MongoDB pod is ready, the GraphQL server will start running like as the init container works. So once MongoDB is ready, then if GraphQL server now starts, it won't crash because MongoDB is already in ready state, right? So this was like one issue, or I would say feedback that we got from committee, and we have fixed it in this way. And I think because this is actually a good issue, because if you are running a Portal in your local machine, it is, you might not even notice these cases, right? But if you're running your, like trying to install Portal in a a bigger machine, or a good cluster where you have a good alerting setup or monitoring setup, right? So you will get alerts for those crashing errors from server, and I would say you won't need that, because it is just because the MongoDB was not in ready state. So this like in this way, at least this is now fixed, right? And with this now I will go to the UX changes, or I would say these are also the issues or feedback that we got, right? So firstly, so there was one, I would say, first time user, I would say, ticket. For example, if you go to the scheduling, schedule workflow wizard, right? So if you select one workflow and move on to the tune workflow screen, now on this screen, I can understand that on this screen many options are there, right? But previously there was I would say one issue that in this table, many users who were trying to use Portal for the first time, they didn't know that you can also configure experiments by clicking on their name, right? They didn't know about this configuration wizard. So this was an issue for first time users. So for this, what we have done is we have added a pencil button here, so that at least it is intuitive to users, that they can actually edit this experiment to tune their experiment according to their needs, right? So if you click on this, you will be getting the configuration wizard for that particular experiment, and you can go ahead and edit that experiment according to your need, right? Now another one thing was here, we can take it as a feature request, right? Previously in 2.2.0, the users were not able to edit the existing probes in a particular experiment, right? You were able to add new probes, but you were not able to edit the existing ones. So what we have done is this time you can also click on this pencil button to edit that particular probe, and you can just click on it and go ahead, make your changes and save your probe, right? And then you can just go ahead and save your experiment. With this, you just configured your probes, and you also know that now you can configure your experiment by going on to this pencil button, and now you can schedule your workflows, right? So this was also an issue with first time users, so that we also kind of fixed in this release. And Next is also, there is also one more, I would say, issue for first time users. We actually got many queries around this, right? If you select, like, go with the scheduling workflows by selecting chaos hub from this screen, then you can actually go ahead and like add your experiments, and add your experiment, multiple experiments, and create your workflow and go ahead and schedule it. But in on this screen there is one more button, that is clean up chaos resources. Previously is what it was named at revert chaos, but now we have like named it as clean up chaos resources, at least on the UI. um, Previously, like, users were not much noticing this button, and they're just scheduling those workflows, and then we are getting queries that the logs were not visible after the workflow was completed, right? That was because like we had cleanup chaos resources enabled here. If you have it enabled, after the completion of workflow, every, like, all the workflow resources will be deleted. So in that case, your logs won't be visible to you when the workflow completes, right? So in case now, we have also added a pop-up so that you know what it does. And also, in case like for first time users, in case you want your logs to be retained after workflow completes, you can just off this switch and move forward with scheduling your workflow, and now your resources won't be deleted and your logs will be persisted, right? So this will actually help the first time users. Now I would say on the workflows side, right? So here we had one query, like users, wanted that they also wanted to, see the manifest for the workflow runs on this screens only. Like, we also understand that, for a particular workflow, you don't want to go to a particular schedule and then download its manifest, right? You can just now, what we have done is that on this table only, for a particular workflow run, whichever workflow run you want to see workflow manifest, you can just click on these three nodes and you can just see your manifest for that particular workflow. Okay, so in this way, at least now it is a good I would say UI for seeing manifest on in this screen only, right? Now so one more enhancement that we have done is, like, if you notice here on this screen, there is one more column that is added workflow runs. Now, if you see in these two tables, I have 4 workflow runs and 3 schedules. That is because one cron workflow got run 2 times, right? Now, having 3 schedules and 4 workflow runs is still good. You are able to see your workflow runs here, and you are able to, seeing the names, like, okay, this is 894, this is also 894. So it was the workflow run for this particular schedule, right? But if you are running it on daily basis, you can have 200 or 300 workflow runs, and also in the same case you can have 50 to 60 schedules, right? Now that will make it difficult for you to map your workflow runs to schedules. So now what you can do is, you don't have to, like, for mapping, you don't have to go to runs. You can just comes to the schedules table, and for a particular schedule, like if you want to see like, for example, this is a cron workflow, right? So for this there will be like multiple number of workflow runs. So if you want to see only workflow runs for that particular schedule, you can just click on this runs button and you will get your workflow runs here on this table, right? So you don't have to map your workflow runs to schedules. You will like get it done on the UI itself. So it will actually help you to keep track of your workflow runs accordingly to your schedules, right? Now so there is one thing that we have added now. So if you see, I have one more agent, this one. So I have installed this, connected this agent in namespace scope, and as you can see, the subscriber is in crash loop back off. I have made it purposefully. Don't ask me how I did it. I just did it, right? So I have done it purposefully so that subscriber is now in non-active state, right? And if you go in here and try to rerun your this workflow is now was scheduled on namespace agent, and as you can see, namespace agent is in non-active state, right? So if you try to rerun your workflow from here, you will get an alert, agent not active to rerun the selected workflow. And the same condition will happen if you try, for example, if you are already in the path of scheduling your workflows, you are already on the, I would say, on the verify and commit screen, right? And at that time your agent got in inactive state, right? Now at that time, if you are now at this time, if your agent just got in active state, your workflow won't be scheduled in backend, right? And so how do you know now? Like for example, currently it is scheduled, but if your agent is in non-active state, you will also get an alert here that your agent is not in active state, right? So that will actually help you, because if without these errors, you won't be able to know why your workflows are not coming in this table, right? Because it was never scheduled, because your agent was in non-active state. So that is also one thing. And yeah, that's pretty much all. And in this list, majorly, like, these were some feedbacks or queries or issues that you raised. And also there have been some like bug fixes in analytics that we have done, also in workflow scheduling part, the whole scheduling path, if you say. So yeah, that is there. So yeah, that was all from my side. And yeah, so yeah, with this I would say, yeah, like, because of all your feedbacks and issues and queries that we get on channel, that's how we are enhancing portal in this way. So yeah, thanks everyone. Yeah, that's all. In case anyone has any query, you can ask.
Thanks a lot, Vedant. I think those are great points made, and explanation of what has come up with 2.1. Thanks a lot for the demo. So perhaps we have got 18 minutes on the clock, so I would like to open the floor for any questions or an open floor discussion, and then we can wind up. I see one of the new members has joined in, Afzal. Afzal, if you would like to introduce yourself to the community and how you're looking at Litmus.
Yeah, I can. Hope you are able to hear me.
Yes, Afzal, we can hear you.
So like I'm Afzal Ansari, and here I would like explore this Litmus chaos. So chaos engineering is really good. So I haven't been so much into this. So this is my first time here. Also, I have viewed some of the videos to know about this, but yeah, I'm just learning and exploring with you all. And also, yes, to my background, I'm currently a software engineer training at Cloud1. So maybe that will help me in this this wonderful community to grow. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Afzal. I hope you're part of the Litmus Chaos Slack community. You can always ask your questions there or get access to any information you have there.
Sure. Sure. Thank you.
All right, then do we have anything else? Perhaps we are seeing some recurring folks, Sean, Etienne, Alfred, if there's anything that you guys have to discuss.
I don't have anything. I'm not sure whether Etienne or Sean has anything to bring up.
All right, folks, then perhaps we can wind up for today. I think, unfortunately, Kiran from Lowe's could not join, but hopefully for the next call we can have it. I see a comment by Chandan being the Litmus UI after a long time now. It looks very neat and clean. Thanks a lot, Chandan. Perhaps if you have anything else to mention here, you can unmute yourself and surely talk about it. Thanks for the feedback. All right, guys, perhaps we can wind up for today, and we look forward to have you all on the next call. Thanks for joining in this late, all those who are joining from India, and looking forward to seeing you in the next call. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.